Hi, as you can see the title below, this video is about Lilith in the 10th house. Welcome. I am a person that does videos here online and talks about your personal astrology. If you happen to have this, you may have this natally, progressively, or transitionally. If you're a cross watcher, please enjoy. I'm here to help anyone get to know thyself, and then also you can correlate this with your draconic chart. I do mostly Western astrology, but I do bring in a little sidereal. I do mainly ancient astrology too. But yeah, let's get right into it. You can go ahead and click on the timestamps below because I talk a lot. I disseminate so much information, but I promise you it's for good cause. So let's get right into it. Who is Lilith? Lilith is Adam's original first wife. She and Adam rose above from the ground and rose as humans. Now there was an issue. Eventually they were meant to procreate, but she was not submissive. Adam did not like that. He wanted her that way. I guess they didn't take into account that they were both going to come out exactly the same with no polarity, etc. Adam, he shamed her, banned her, and she felt repressed for being herself. Long story short, Adam took Eve out of his rib and made his new wife, and his perfect ideals came true. But the problem with this was that Adam later felt kind of regretful, but not really, because he had this concealed. He liked that primal sexual energy from Lilith. It is a sexual energy and it's a little on the lustful side at times. I don't want to say just a little, but very dark femme energy. So it doesn't necessarily mean lustful, but it does get to that more sexual energy on the lustier side. It tends to look more that way. It probably is, but I'm just being careful with how I'm describing it because it's not conclusive. Lilith is not just a place where we feel repressed and ashamed and oppressed, but it's the areas in our life where we can take back our power and empower others as well. So in this case, you have it in the 10th house. I'm going to go ahead and start on what is the 10th house. The 10th house is your legacy, what you're building. I would say it's the doing of the house rather than the 11th house is already accomplished dreams and hopes and wishes. The 10th house is more the ambition, the energy you are putting, the building blocks that you're building throughout your journey. It is manifesting whether you like it or not. The MC is also connected here as well, which is the midheaven. It's how others can see you at your highest self. It's also connected in ancient astrology with the mother. The reason why is because the mother is visibly shown, so is the MC, hence you. And it is certain that is your mother. And the reason why is because she is pregnant. You come right out of her and you know you came from that mother. Now the father would be the 4th house. Reason why is because it's the house of privacy also. You just technically never will know if that's the father. You could tell biologically sometimes, but sometimes you can't because your child might look identical to the mother. And that's not to say, oh, their mom's not faithful, whatever, but it's the fact that it's not 100,000,000% certain like it is with the mother with her pregnancy. And then also in modern astrology, it is the house of father. So you're gonna have to decipher what is for you and what kind of practice you want to go about or what you feel resonates for you. I like to say there's no right or wrong. I know there's different categories and places for astrology, but I tend to think all of it can be true. I lean more with the ancient astrology though. That's just like my personal take on that. I forgot to mention that this is an angular house, meaning it is one of the 4 main powerful component parts of your chart. The 1st, the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th is your angular most powerful house. It is the power on turbo, and the reason why I say that is because the manifestation is so potent in these areas and in your life specifically, and it's impactful in ways that you can't really turn back. And I'll say it like this. Let's say in the first house you get surgical procedure, you mold yourself and tweak some things. When you saw your nose, when you do that stuff, you can't really go back. You can't technically regrow that bone back. And same thing with the fourth house. You have that blood lineage, heritage. You can't technically change those things about yourself. You can change the way you live your life, and you can change the way you perceive your life. But for example, I am my own race and I can't change that technically. You can identify. It's so complex. I'm getting a little off topic really, but seventh house is also a huge impactful part of your life. Who you marry, you will divorce if you tend to leave, and that is in your record. You have already been married. And the 10th house is reputation. So what you build and what you put out will come and reap its rewards or its consequences. In your home, it's private, you're doing whatever you want in your life, but out there in the world, there is a public part of yourself that you're putting with coworkers, with authority. This is the house of authority as well. You could be the one in authority, or others could be in authority with you. The last thing I want to say is it's mainly ambition here, in my opinion. There's so many components, but like if I had to describe it in one word, it's the expression of your ambitions, your goals. It's what you're working towards to, and what is visibly shown so far as what you have sown and built. Okay, now let's move into the celeb example. I highly always recommend hearing this, and you're gonna like this one because this one's very interesting and it's gonna explain how complex it can be. So you have to keep in mind whatever zodiac you have in the 10th house will literally be literal or metaphorically. So let me explain. The celeb example is today Albert Einstein. And this one makes so much sense. I'll explain as I go. So Albert Einstein has a whole history of being a genius, super advanced, like IQ to the max. I think his IQ was 140 plus. Psych, his IQ number is actually unknown, but they speculate that is around 160, which is genius level. So I was way off, but yeah, keep that in mind. I will correct myself on the screen if that's not the case, but I'm pretty sure that was the case. And he's just so highly known for his intelligence, his genius. The thing about here is that he has Aries Lilith in the 10th house. He's a Cancer rising, and I'm using whole sign system for his chart, but he has Aries Lilith in the 10th house. It makes sense. He has Saturn and Mercury conjunct in the 10th house. Could be that he's so highly intelligent and so impulsively constantly wiring in his brain with information and learning that Saturn is there to nullify it a little bit because it's so powerful for him. He has Pisces MC, hence why he's kind of known to not be fully 100% understood by every single person out there. And I say that because we love and idealize him a lot, but if you were to have a conversation or feel what he felt, maybe I tend to think that people who are highly intelligent to the IQ to that point that he had, I feel like they tend to feel out of place from the public, because the public average, I think the average IQ is like, I could be wrong, 90 to 110. And then there's like moderate advanced, which is like 113 to, I technically don't remember the numbers, but I definitely know the IQ can affect a social life for a person, and that can also come with their intimacy relationships. So that basically happened in his life. Let's explain why he has that Lilith in Aries. So he was the one that brought upon the atomic bomb, and he highly regrets that part. It was not intentionally made for war. It was more experimental curiosity. His curiosity went a little like far, to the point where it got so dark, where he found how to make I guess, an explosion into matter. Aries is very impulsive, combative, so is the atomic bomb. That's not to say Aries are like that. And I'm saying that because I'm an Aries sun, so I don't take offense to that. But it's kind of like a metaphoric but literal sense to him with the Lilith here. The atomic bomb turned into a really harsh weapon. It is very, very sad. But he immediately regretted. I think he wrote on a quote. Where is the quote? Had I known that oh shoot, I can't even read my own writing. I write like crazy. Had I known that, oh gosh, I can't even read my writing. I'm so sorry. I can't read the exact quote, but he basically wrote a signature letter to President Franklin Roosevelt. Yeah, so he technically identifies as a pacifist, but he accidentally gave it to the wrong hands to the world, and now it's used for war, and he highly regretted that. It's one of his biggest regrets, he said. He has 3 regrets. He feels like because his ambition and career was so highly concentrated to his desires, I read that he mentioned that he feels deep regret with neglecting his daughter, or the expression of love that he could have gave to his daughter, which he feels like he did not, and he feels saddened for. And his other regrets were kind of neglecting the marriage parts. He had multiple marriages, infidelity, etc. Like he kind of neglected that part of his life because the ambition and desire was a little too intense. I mean, Lilith can be very interesting here in general. Lilith is repression, so he probably felt maybe a little ashamed or self-shamed, embarrassed about the fact that that incident happened in his case, getting his curiosity into a dangerous place, not intentionally, but it just happened, and now the reputation is there. He is known for that. People have known him at that time for the mad scientist look and energy and all that stuff. So that is one example of how Lilith can manifest in one's chart. In his case, it was the neglection of his personal life and highly focused and obsession to his ambition and curiosity. Nothing wrong with your ambition or curiosity, but it got to the point where things got dark, aka the atomic bomb, aka the wars, the effect it had for the rest of life. Actually, it made history after that. That is an example of Lilith in the 10th house. That is an extreme example. Keep that in mind, because that is not going to be the case for everyone. Albert Einstein was a very, very unique. We are all unique, but this one is someone that is well known for history in that case. So, alright, so let's dive into the natal. If you have this natally, this means this is your blueprint. This is a big whole theme of your life, versus if it's transitionally in your chart, that is a chapter. It is 9 months. I'll explain that later in the transit, but this is natal. The way it could manifest really depends on the zodiac you have, but this is what I'm getting, and I'm going to explain different scenarios. So the first thing I'm going to mention is power dynamics with authority. There's going to be power dynamics here for sure. Okay, imagine this. If you're female or a guy, doesn't matter, it both applies. Imagine the same gender. Boss. They look at you, you're the new person coming at work, you're very bright, you're very smart, you're accurate, whatever, you have great skills. This person is so annoyed of you, is so intimidated by you, it's so mad and angry that you came in the picture. They're like, what is this person doing? I'm going to make sure they're not going to go to the top. I'm going to make sure they know every mistake they make. I'm going to make sure they're going downhill. And Lilith here can show with power dynamics jealousy, intimidation. It can also show some power that the other person feels threatened by you, that they feel like they're going to lose, or that you already have. Let's put this in depiction in your mind how it can look. Imagine you're going to work, you're like, okay, like this is my first day, and then you go on train for the next 2 weeks, then you're like really good. You're sharp, you're very authoritative, you're very strong, you know what to do. You're doing very well. Your I say same gender, it could be both, any gender really, but this happens a lot. The same gender comes to you and they're like, you suck, you're not good enough, you're doing this bad, blah blah blah. So I took pictures of every spot that you missed. What is this? What's this dust doing here? It's so intensely annoying. It's darker than that. I tend to think it's annoying, but they will literally make you feel like trash in your career, in your dreams that you're building. They're gonna say like, who's gonna want to watch your YouTube? Who's gonna actually want to buy your cupcakes that you're selling? Who's actually gonna want to go through about your service? Like, they're literally gonna gaslight the living schmick out of you. I don't even know if that's a word. I'm trying not to cuss in this channel because I don't know how it works in YouTube, but they're literally gonna basically bring you down verbally, mentally, emotionally. They're just gonna make you feel like complete crap, and that is because you are either attractive. Lilith is an attractive energy. I've seen this at work. I remember one guy that was, I think like 18, his first job, very handsome guy or boy. He's like really young and he's super tall, did the job amazing. I was like, wow, good job, like you did really good for your first day. Did really good for the rest of the time that I've known him. I moved out of that job later, but my boss was a male and he could not stand the living crap out of that guy. He was like, you're not doing it right and you don't know how to do it, and just stop talking, just stop that, like constant, always trying to bring him down, always trying to tell him he sucks. And the worst part for that boss was that my coworker, the young boy, was like taking the criticism like a champion. He was like, thank you so much for telling me this constructive criticism. And the boss I could feel it, but the boss was like, oops, I freaking hate you. I want to bring you down. And I remember I just could tell there was this form of intimidation. I don't know if it came from insecurity. It looked like insecurity to me, in my opinion, but that's how it's going to look for you. Same thing with a girl. You're going to be that girl that comes in work and that girl boss is all nice to the guys and all that stuff, and she comes and she's like, who does this little pretty girl? And she's going to say the opposite. If anything, she's going to be like, this ugly girl came in this work. But in reality, she knows you're attractive. Not only are you attractive, but you're a hard worker. You know what you're doing your job well done. She's just like, I'm not having it, I'm the one. I don't like that she's this and more of that, or blah blah blah. Like, they're gonna feel so intimidated by you, and you're just gonna be like, I'm literally just here to work, I'm literally just here to make money, so like, get out of my way. And the Lilith in you comes out eventually. So Lilith here is repressed and oppressed and feeling shameful for being who you are. So you might feel like, maybe I shouldn't even try to look good because I'm gonna be bullied by my, oh sorry, I hope my hair is not bothering the microphone. But you're probably thinking, I just don't want problems. I'm trying my best, like nothing's good enough, blah, 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 like things like that. And this could also be with coworkers. There could be power dynamics with your coworkers and they can bring you down. I'm getting like coworkers are just making you feel like excluded and crazy and stupid and incompetent, just negativity, and you're just like, what is your problem, bro? Like, what is your problem? The problem is that you're intimidating them. You are bringing something dark out of them that they're projecting that onto you. So now the Lilith in you has to come out and be like, that's enough, back off. That doesn't always manifest. So Lilith here comes in different ways. This is the part where you do have to take your power when it comes to power dynamics with authority, because you don't want to stay repressed for the rest of your life. You're going to have regret by the time your time is done here on earth. So it could be that the lesson here, I tend to like to think that Lilith is karmic. The lesson here is to really take back your power and be like no more, and kind of do things your way, because it can better the company, it can better yourself, it can better your dreams and hopes and aspirations, your legacy. I would not take things personal. It's gonna feel personal because it is personal to the other authority, but trust me, keep doing your thing. Void as much as you can the negativity around you, because they're not going to want to see you go on top. They know you can go on top because they're intimidated by you for a reason. So aside from the power dynamics, you may have public fear. You might be so scared to be seen. The thing is, I think you have something that can inspire others, but you're so scared to be seen here. Lilith, she is shamed for being seen. I would really link the ruler of the house of your zodiac sign. And the reason why is because, let's say the ruler of your house is Pluto and Scorpio's in here. Look where Pluto is. Or it's Libra. Where is Venus in your chart? It could be correlated to those things. Maybe you had some form of humiliation if you have Venus in the 3rd house, or Venus in the 7th house is working with others and having commitments with others, and maybe people stabbed you in the back before, and now it's scaring you from really shining bright and trusting anyone, really. I definitely feel like you're going to feel repressed by yourself, or it could happen in a way where you're feeling repressed by the public, and you could be visibly seen and you just feel suffocated and suppressed that way, and you're just like, back the F off. Another way it can manifest is you could feel like you're pressured to do a mediocre, that's a mean word to put it, that's just like me being a little passive, but a traditional way of going about with your career and your ambitions. I highly resonate with this. So maybe you feel pressured by anyone and everyone around you, public, society, family, etc., you name it, that you have to be, I don't know, something so dumb, masculine, feminine, traditional, going to school, going in a very specific path, lawyer, doctor. You hear that a lot with some cultures where, like, I expect you to be this or that, or else you're nothing, and you're an artist, or you're a creative, or you are an inventor, or you're into plants, or anything. Like, there's so many different things, and I definitely feel like you will feel this pressure to put a public image. And I just want to say, Lilith is here to really take back your power and to really free yourself. I think this is the area of your life where you probably have to really free yourself. And what is it that you really do want deep down, like desire wise, ambitious wise, or not even ambitious? Like, what is it, or how do you see yourself? It doesn't even have to be, technically you have to be out of the box and weird and creative and artistic. None of that. Sometimes people might pressure you to be, for example, me as a woman, I hear the girl boss, or you can't rely on a man, you can't rely on anyone, you have to make your own money, be boss, bitch, non-stop, hustle, like. And some girls want to just be a traditional wife. They just want to be at home, take care of the family, cook, however they want to do it. But you might be shamed for that and be like, that is so back then, you're so conservative, you're so this, or vice versa. It's the other way around, where you don't want to be a traditional wife. By the way, this is not just for women. I'm just making an example. This could be for men in different areas of their life. But going back to what I was saying is that, or feminine, masculine, whatever you identify, I don't really care. But you might feel like, I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't want to be so feminine. Why do I have to take a feminine role? Like, why do I have to take a masculine role? Same thing with a guy. There's a good example. A guy is expected to do a masculine job. But what if you like cooking and doing baking and something that's out of the ordinary that most people are like, that's not for men. Men don't sing. Men don't do baking. Literally, just shush. I literally want to tell the whole world, whenever like people tell you how to live your life, I'm like, shush. Like, shush. Like, I can't stand that. But I definitely feel the rebellious energy, and I am feeling it for you here because whatever it is that you want to do, it's your life. I literally always have to mention this. And every Lilith, now that I found this pattern with Lilith, you literally have to do what's best for you in order to be there and be strong for other people and to empower and also really be the example for other people. It is your life. It's no one else's. Now, this is not just about career. It's your public image. So stage fright. This is giving me, you have potential, like big potential, talent or skills that you have, but you're so scared. So let's say you're so great with numbers and you're great with finances and you can make a really great business, but you're so scared of women. This is real. It happens. And the reason why I say you're scared of women is because girls can go through this too, but I do know there's cases where some guys are so antisocial with women because it's something that they're not fully comfortable yet in their life. Maybe they grew up with a house full of guys and not girls, and they don't know how girls work, and they get really nervous and they think they're very pretty or whatever. Like, there's different things that can happen that way that can stop you. I went through that with guys where I grew up mainly with women in my life, so I felt very scared of the idea of men because they felt very unknown to me, and I thought they were the cutest beings ever in this life. So I definitely resonate with anyone who feels that way. Now, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm just embarrassed about like all that stuff in my life, but it could be that you are talented at acting, but you have stage fright, but you're not afraid of, you're social out there, like you're doing well, everything's great, but when it comes to performance, there's something about you being so afraid and scared, and you're just like, you feel paralyzed. You're like, you're about to do a speech and you're so good at doing it, but you're about to do it and you're just like, you're like literally choking. You're choking, and I understand that feeling. But it's real, and Lilith tends to make you feel suppressed in that way, but take back your power. One thing that I told myself is that embrace the choking. I know it sounds crazy, but embrace for me, my thing is turning red, like bright red. I just let people know, hey, or sometimes they'll mention like, oh, you're red, and I'll be like, it happens. That's actually a thing for me, so I have to like let it sink in or let it be. And sometimes I'm just like, I'm sorry, I have to let it out of my system, but I'm gonna turn red right now. That's just something that happens. It just happens. It's embarrassing, yes, but does it feel liberating when you just admit it? You're like, well, that was embarrassing, and I know people say, oh, it's only embarrassing if you make it embarrassing. Yes, it's freaking embarrassing. Embarrassment is a real experience, believe it or not. Is it true that you make it embarrassing? I'm going to debate with this part because I think it is partially you, and then it's partially a real experience that humans will experience, and it's real. If you are embarrassed, embrace it. That's the only thing I would tell you to take. Just embrace the embarrassment. And also, Lilith here reminds me of people that need to overcome the cringe hill. And let me explain what the cringe hill is. So every entertainer, every public speaker, author, actor, well-known literature person, or scientist, botanist, like anyone really that you can think of with career, they all started at a very cringy level. That's just how it goes universally for everyone. Once you get over that hill, you don't really care anymore. You've gone so cringy, you've gone so out of your, like, you just don't care. And then sometimes you might look back and be like, ooh, like cringe more, but then sometimes you're like, whoa, we only have one life in this time, and you might as well do what you want. And I'm telling you, just get over that cringe, or it's not always just cringe, embarrassment hill. Just freaking embarrass yourself. You can do it. Like, I promise you, it's gonna come with rewards later, because you're gonna free yourself. You're gonna express yourself the way you need to express yourself out there in the public, and it does not feel good feeling closed off for the rest of your life, hiding under the sheets. I do have to mention, on contrary, you do have to protect your energy at the same time. Sometimes being authentic can also not really protect you, so you have to be mindful with who you're working with and who you're telling your secrets or your dreams, aspiration. Sometimes you may need to keep that a secret, and sometimes it's okay to rebel and be like, I don't stand for that. You kind of have to use your discernment to your best abilities and also learn through intuition as well. So for example, if you happen to know you work with a clinical narcissist at work, and I say clinical like you can straight up and tell and know that they are narcissists, you know you cannot go along the lines with being yourself. You kind of have to be careful and know how to work with thy enemy. And even if this person is normal, sometimes you'll come across people who just will not understand you, and it's okay to be misunderstood. It's up to you what you want to express, with whom, and how you want to use that energy to whom or what audience. You might also come across very dark energies with coworkers, bosses, or anyone around your vicinity when it comes to your career, and they're going to have dark personalities, as in dark traits. There's 3 main dark traits. There's Machiavellian, narcissism, and psychopath. Sometimes these dark traits are very visibly, conspicuously shown, but sometimes they're inconspicuous, and it's up to you to really feel out your energy, really be in tune with your body. Lilith is in tune with her root chakra, and energy does not lie. Also, these energies might not be coming towards you, but you are surrounded by them, hence you could be in danger. So you have to be very careful with who you're around and be very observational when it comes to these things, especially when Lilith is here. It kind of reminds me of you. Let's say you're someone who's working along the lines with music and you're trying to make something of your career. You happen to be in a show kind of like The Four, and P. Diddy was there, which he's a very dark energy. He is very scary, and he's someone you don't want to be around with, even if you're not directly working with him. I'm not trying to scare anyone, by the way. I just want everyone to have cautious when it comes to aspiring anything, really, because there's anything out there in the world. So please protect yourself in the best way you can. One last thing I will mention here is the downfall with Lilith here is that it's your reputation with the 10th house. It gets tricky here. It's not just going through a cringe phase and you, woohoo, we got our rewards at the end. It's not like that. It's sometimes your reputation, and it can get tainted in ways that you feel like you want to hide after, and it's not a good feeling. It's a vulnerable state to be seen publicly in general. You want to really protect yourself. That's very Lilith, the protection part of yourself. You know, that's where you take autonomy, authority, and you get to decide who has your energy, who can take information from you. Sometimes there can be scandalous information that is out of your control. That's more 8th house energy. But I just want to say, if it happens that way, if you felt like your reputation was damaged or tainted, know that everyone has something they're hiding and they just don't show it publicly. Everyone fails. You have to fail in order to succeed. That everyone knows that at this point, I think. But if you don't know, that's something that is given when you succeed. And also, being judged is just a reflection of the collective that they're still not experienced yet. I always tell myself this, and this is something I've learned throughout my life. The more you experience, the less judgment you have. The more people have judgment, I feel like they lack experience. Trust me, once you get on the other side of many things, you tend to have less judgment towards others, and you tend to care less of what they do. It's not really your life. It's more about your life and how you're going to contribute to this world, really, and what you are meant to shine bright here on this earth. So yeah, I think that's all I can think of for Lilith in the 10th house. If I missed anything, if you have any experiences you want to share, go ahead and put down your experience in the comments, and I would love to hear it. So let's dive into the Lilith 10th house transits and progression. Let's first explain what the transit means. Transits is a transitional period of your life. It's a chapter. It feels kind of long in the moment. Lilith goes in transit in each zodiac sign for 9 months. It can linger before and after, or it can be very cutthroat, but that all depends on your personal experience. Now, if you have this in progression, it's just a longer period of your time, and it's long but not forever in short term. So let's explain how it's going to manifest during this transit. Get yourself prepared when it comes to work or building your dreams, because people are going to try to knock you down. I'm going to tell you or give you homework to watch the movie Rocky before going into this transit. And if you have not watched Rocky, I highly suggest watching it anyways, whether you have this placement or in transit in general, because Rocky is a good start and motivation, because this is what's going to happen during this time. So you're going to come across power dynamics with authority. You're going to come across people, coworkers, or people in general who don't believe in what you're building for your legacy. And you're going to have to be so strong with yourself, and you're going to have to truly, truly rebel from societal norms during this time. So you're going to feel like you're crazy, but like in a good way, in a mad scientist way, and that you found the equation towards the end of the transit for yourself, and it might even benefit and inspire others as well with your empowerment. So also, for some of you guys, I would say that it's not technically other people bringing you down, but rather yourself. Limited self-beliefs, or just bringing yourself down because of where you came from, etc. That's why I mentioned the movie Rocky, because in the movie he doesn't really believe in himself, or doesn't really think he's special or has anything going for him, or is not worthy of those things. And there's so much more that was lying ahead in his life. That is something that can inhibit you in your career. It could be yourself, literally. It gets tricky here. Reputation tends to come along the way here, so be careful with who you tell your secrets, who you're surrounding yourself with, who you're talking with at work. I would focus more on your personal relationships rather than just making friends and just specific connections at work, because during this time people are not always going to be very honest. There could be deception, dishonesty, so for example, let me give you an example. Let's say a coworker is like, oh my gosh, like you look amazing that way, and you should do your hair like this, and blah blah blah, and in reality they're just saying that so you look at your worst. And that's not to say you don't look great during this time. You will look great. If anything, you'll look a little too attractive. I tend to link Lilith with attraction in general in this area of your life, in this transit even, because there's some sexual energy going on. Ooh, and I forgot to mention that in the natal, but be careful with any mixing flirtiness or any interest in any way. Actually, I was going to say romantically, but in any way with coworkers or bosses, because they might find you attractive during this time. They might find you, it's giving me like that Mars energy. They can't help but to find you attractive, so be careful. They're going to flirt with you. They're going to try to signal you those things, and you're going to have to be very mindful and careful, because you want to protect your energy, you want to protect yourself and your reputation. People say that you shouldn't care what other people think. I'm sorry, when it comes to reputation, it matters, because you need connections and you need to get to where you need to get to. And also, it's a really crappy way to make money. You don't want to have a bad reputation and have all this energy trying to bring you down during this time. You want to be making your money, and you want to make it in a way where no one's trying to also bring you just low energy levels. Like, you just don't need that right now. So, but it will manifest during this time, and I'm not trying to manifest that for you. I'm just trying to warn you, because you can't really escape the energy of Lilith. But the thing is here is that it's trying to activate your Lilith energy during this time in the 10th house. So I want to add that you might want to even find jobs or work for yourself in general. So the less people you work, the better during this transit, only because you're going to really want to focus on your power when it comes to your career. I also feel like you might challenge or intimidate others because you're being bold in this part of your life. Also, this is kind of random, but burnout can happen in this placement or transit specifically, and that can come from energies from other people that they're so intense and it's exhausting to be around with, or it could actually be you overworking yourself in general. There might be things that you want to work on that are not in expectations of what others are expecting of you, but you're gonna have to really trust yourself. Lilith is linked with the root chakra, and you're going to have to really put yourself in a place where you feel safe with yourself at least, and trust yourself, like really truly trust yourself. Trust what you feel in your body. Whenever you're talking to someone, you can feel something is, even if they're nice to you, you can feel something's off. It kind of reminds me of one time this guy told me a long time ago, and I never forgot about this. He was saying that just because he was giving me advice, by the way. He was like, just because a guy is nice doesn't mean he's kind. I never forgot those words. It's true. Just because someone's nice to you does not mean they're kind. It could be tactful. No, not even tactful. It's not even considerate. It could be a very interesting way to find their way to get to you. So you have to be very careful. It kind of reminds me when I was working at a place and I felt like there was some weird energy with some people, and some people I'm like, oh, they're just doing their own thing. But I remember there was this one girl that was so nice to me from the beginning. And I was like, oh, she's so nice. Like, she's trying to like help me get this job, whatever. And then I came in that job. And later she's like, hi bestie. I couldn't explain what it was, but I felt like something was not genuine. And I was like, no, it's in my head. And then I noticed she was trying to grab information afterwards from me, from like kind of starting to start a drama. She's like, and that girl, and like, I'm like, oh, no, don't even get me in the middle of that. And I was like, oh, I gotta go, bye, like, see ya. Because sometimes people just want to suck you in for drama. Sometimes they want to see your downfall, but they want to be close to the enemy, which is you. To them, it's you. And yeah, just be freaking careful with drama. You don't want to be around drama. Guys are not really into drama in general, but there could be guys that are bullies at times, and they just bring you downhill. And the only way, or the only thing I would say to you, if that happens to you during this time where people are trying to bring you down with your goals or work or job or what you're building, is they're insecure enough to tell you these things, because no one who's secure, no one who's happy, no one who's feeling centered within themselves is going to go out of their way, out of their day to tell you how crappy your idea is, how crappy you look, how this or that, how you suck at this. Like, trust me when I say the haters are hating because there's something to hate. Okay, no, wait, I'm not saying that right. The haters are hating because there's something that they feel like they lack, because they're intimidated by you. So it's a good thing that you have haters sometimes, because you're inspiring them technically. They just haven't activated it inside them yet. So right now they're experiencing their dark side, so don't let them project that onto you. Okay, before I continue, protect your reputation. I know people say it's not important, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it is. If you want connections, if you want to not deplete yourself from energies. Energy is real. You're gonna feel heavy energy everywhere if your reputation's crazy. Look at what happened with Will Smith. He made one mistake that most people do on the daily, no offense. And was it right to do? Not really, but was it a one-time thing? Yes. And guess what? Now everyone sees him as him punching Chris Rock. And like, that's not all he is. It's just people have their moments. That's not them forever, but you tend to be shamed and casted away for that, and it's a dark feeling. You don't want to get there. But if it does happen to you, and it has happened to me at work, I would definitely, and sometimes you're not trying, it just kind of like finds you. That's what Lilith does in this house. The only thing you can do is confront it and stay so strong and firm. And then also leave, because you're like, I don't need this. One example I can give you, I haven't gone through this transit yet. I have gone through it probably in the past years. I don't know what year, but I have gone through experiences where there's a dark force and dark energy trying to not technically let me express myself. So the only thing I did was remove myself from that, and I kind of had to find a job where I was working a little bit more independently in those dark times. Okay, a quick recap of shadow self. If you have this placement and you have the dark energy, it will manifest in ways where you are going to feel like you are an authority and you misuse or abuse that power. You might also be attracted to environments that are dark, and that is because it might be from your childhood environment or your subconscious, your beliefs, etc. It could be anything, so make sure you look at the ruler of the house and try to connect the dots from there. Also, wanting attention in a scandalous way can be very self-sabotaging and can harm others as well. That's all I can think of for right now. My storage is almost gone, so that is just a little couple examples of what it can look like. Take it with a grain of salt. That is only applicable to certain people. So sorry, my storage is about to run out, so I'm going to end the video right here. Please like and subscribe if you like this. Any requests down in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. I'm so sorry for the cutoff, but yeah, if you want any examples, let me know in the comments. Thank you. I love you.